How's that possible that all the information on how to start and run a business successfully is out there, but most of you still struggle to make money with your dealership? So if you still struggle to make money with your dealership, it's either the lack of application or the lack of knowledge, okay? Because I'm sure there's at least one person here who's smarter than these three guys, but they are making more money than you, right? The only difference between them and you is they took action when you didn't. So the key to growth is knowledge and action. If you have both, then you have growth. So when it comes to knowledge is how much quality info are you taking in and how fast is that cycle, and action is how fast you take action as soon as you have the new data, right? But most of you acquire data but don't act, or you act but you don't acquire data. So for example, people, they would have a 500k per month knowledge, but they would act like a 50k per month person. If you act like a 50k per month person, even with the 500k per month knowledge, you will never go beyond 50k per month, because you could have a million, 10 million, $100 million knowledge. If you don't act on the knowledge, your knowledge doesn't mean shit, right? So if you're like this, you're kind of like a business teacher. Like them, you acquire data, but you don't act. Like them, they studied business for years, but most of them don't even own a business. So the only difference here is action. If you implement and acquire quality knowledge, you're unstoppable, right? But if you don't do that, you will never scale your business. Honestly, that's why most of us are giving our knowledge for free, because we know that most of you will never take action on the knowledge. And even if you do, you will quit after 1 week or 2 weeks, because you don't see results in the first week. So yeah, hope everyone understands that. So now, when it comes to the offers, to create an offer, you need to do more than just look at what others do. I'm not saying it's bad doing this, but you need to do more than that. You need to create a killer offer. You need to look at who's your ideal customer and create an offer around it. What do I mean by that is you need to know everything about your ideal customer. When I say everything, is everything, okay? Especially what he wants, why do he want it, how fast do he want to receive it, and how do he want to receive it. If you have the answer to these four questions, you have a good base on how to create a good offer, because what all you have to do is give him what he wants, position yourself and your product so it appeals to the reasons he wants it, give him what he wants as fast as possible, and figure out the level of pain and investment required from him to get his dream outcome. Simple, right? But the thing is, like this guy said, when he got asked what's the secret to sales, he says he said people buy from you when they feel understood, not when they understand you. Because when they feel understood, you know, they trust you and you come as an authority figure, right? But most of you don't understand your customers. So between, the client current situation and his dream outcome, there's a gap between those two, right? But the thing is, you guys have a process that doesn't bridge the whole gap. You have like a process that bridges half of the gap, and you wonder why you can't scale and retain clients in the long run, because you need a process that generates that bridges the whole gap, right? You can't afford to make an offer that doesn't have the four things we've talked about. So again, there's no more selling cars that it doesn't fit the customer's needs. There's no more hidden fees, no more bullshit. Okay, give them what they want. Find a way to give them the car as fast as possible. Minimize the prospect's effort, And once you've done all that, now you have a process that bridges the whole gap. Once you have this process in place, you will retain clients for life and you will decrease the sales friction every time, right? Simple. So now I want to talk about how to outperform everyone. So in order to do that, you need a process that generates attention, find a way to own it, educate your prospects, and use the right conversion processes to convert the attention into cash. Okay. When it comes to attention, you need a process to generate at least, at minimum, 300 impressions per day. Okay. That's the bare minimum. For example, this guy, he's not doing any ads, by the way, not doing any ads, and he scaled his car rental business 100% organically to 8 figures just by posting content. Okay, for example, just on TikTok, he's getting 1.5 million views, three almost 3 million views, almost 1 million views every day, every single day. Now imagine how much dollars you would have to spend in order to make this much impressions. Honestly, you will have to spend like 30 grand in order to make the same impressions, right? And he's not the only one. We have Andrew, Jake Paul. This guy, he's a 13-year-old child who's on track to be a YouTube billionaire just by doing content. That's crazy. So, how do you achieve results like this? I'm gonna talk about Andrew uh, sales process because he does it the best. So, Andrew, to generate, own, and educate his audience, he has more than these three things, but I'm gonna talk about these three today. So the first is his long form content. He posts long form content on Rumble, basically for 3 hours, and with this, he has an affiliate program. So basically, for each people that buys his program with your link, you're getting a 50% commission on the sale, right? So knowing this, people started doing content of him everywhere. When I say everywhere, is everywhere. Shorts, to this day, he's getting 3.2 a million views, 1.3 million views, 3.6 million views. TikTok, dozens of accounts with more than 100K followers, more than millions of views every single day. X, same thing. Meta, same thing. Facebook, same thing. And all this attention, all this attention is going into his landing page. And once you educate your prospects with content, uh, you pre-handle the objections, everything, the landing page will convert more than 50% because you've done all the work here, right? But still, the thing is, he is where he is today because he has a good offer. Yes, he has testimonials, create sense of urgency, clear a call to action, but he has a good offer. That's why I wanted to start with the offers, because if you don't have a good offer, you will never scale your business. Okay, that's why you need a good offer. So the thing is, he pushes the offer of, if you buy his program, you will never have to work a 9 to 5 ever again, which is a really good offer, right? And the thing is, he doesn't teach you anything. He doesn't teach you anything because he understood that in order to get and keep the clients in the long run, you need to hire people with better skills at the service of the product you're selling, right? The only thing he does is just posting his face, and that's it, right? That's all he does. And it works because he's making $45 million every 90 day. He's making $15 million every 30 day in recurring revenue. And this is without the upsell. He has a thing called War Room, which is an upsell. 3.5k members, 8 grand each member. He made $28 million in upsells. I'm not saying go be the next Andrew Tate, right? But I'm just saying you need to do content. Content is mandatory, okay? It's more than a necessity to do content today, okay? So, last thing I want to talk about paid ads, because content is great, but you can also do ads, and you should be doing both. For our clients, we do both. Instantly, we start with ads because it's the easiest to set up, but we also do content for all of our clients, okay? So I'm going to show you how to build a profitable growth system. So if you understand what I'm about to explain, I'll tell you now, you will be set for life when it comes to client and sales, okay? It's going to be boring and really hard to understand, but I can assure you, if you understand what I will be explaining in the next minutes, you'll be set for life, okay? In order to go from input to output, we have a thing called conversion tools, okay? That's going to impact the conversion rates to go from input to output. For example, let's say we have lead as an input, sourced by outreach, content, ads. We have a conversion tools, which is a hook of an ad, um, uh, your offer, follow-up messages, could be anything. We have the output, which is clients, of course, and we have the metrics, which is the feedback, which is the conversion rates, and it shows us how much effective is our system, okay? And we have the market, which is the external factor influencing the market. So in order to go from a human to a client, you need to go through 6 stages, 6 conversion processes to go from a human to a client, okay? So first, you need to be able to transform latent conditions into attention, attention to interest, interest to appointment, appointment to show, show to prime prospect to close deal, okay? And you have a client. And when you have a client, you have the feedback, which we said is the conversion rates of each of these systems, okay? I need you to view it like this, because you saying I need more clients is too big, right? But if you divide the problem in little parts, in little stages, it's more easy to understand and find the problem, right? Because all you have to do is just track all the metrics from each of these steps, and you can find the bottleneck and you can attack it. And once it's fixed, now you have a profitable system, right? I'm gonna talk about all this later, but I just want you to understand that I need you to think like this, okay? If you have a big problem, divide this big problem with little problems. So in order to solve the big problem, we just have to solve 6 little problems. And if we fix the six little problems, we solve the big problem, right? So when it comes to metrics, as I said, for every stage of the metrics of your system, there's a metric that's gonna be showing us how much effective is your system, okay? In advertising, there's 2 types of metrics. They are the conversion rates, which is click-through rate, appointment booking rate, show-up rate, etc., etc. And we have the cost models, which is the cost per acquisition, cost per lead, cost per impressions, etc., etc. Okay, metrics tells us how much effective is the conversion tools that we use to make people go from stranger to client. Okay, better conversion tools, better the metrics. The conversion tools and the metrics are related at 100%. Okay. Example: let's say you have 100 leads and you have a 30 appointments. You have a 30% conversion rates from interest to appointment. Okay. 30 appointments to 50 shows, you have a 50% conversion rate from appointment to show. 15 shows and 5 sales, you have a 33.3% conversion rate from show to sale, etc., etc. Okay. In order to find um, the bottleneck, you need to track your metrics. Okay. When it comes to client acquisition system, you need to track every stage of your system. Every stage, every little step, you need to have metrics that will show us where is the bottleneck, right? Because if you don't track, we can't find the bottleneck, right? Only idiots build a client acquisition system without tracking. Trying to build a system without tracking is driving without looking ahead. You're gonna crash, right? So I'm gonna talk about KPIs because let's say you want to track your metrics. I'm sure you're asking yourself right now, how do I know if my metrics are good or bad, right? Just like your body has KPIs, you need to have KPIs to make sure that your advertising system, your content system is running perfectly. So when building a system, the first thing you should do is set your KPIs, okay? What's achievable, what's optimal, what is the worst outcome you can tolerate. All right? Now that you have this number as a metric, now you can start optimizing the variables of the conversion tools to achieve it. What do I mean by that? Conversion tools have variables, okay? Let's say you have a KPI for click-through rate, you have a KPI of 2%, okay? The thing affecting the click-through rate is your offer, your call to action, your ad copy, the audience, the hook, many more. If you have a KPI for the show up rate, which is 60%, the tools, you have the follow-up messages, if your leads are qualified, the dealership reputation. If you have a 25% conversion rate, a KPI for your form, the tools, you have the form length, page load speed, landing page, etc., etc. Okay. Now we have a thing called a keystone metric. Out of all your metrics, we have one metric that shows us the entire efficiency of the system. Okay. As a dealership, your primary metric is your CPA. Okay, is your cost per acquisition. If this metric is in KPI, do not try to improve any metrics below it. All you have to do is just spend more. And that, my friend, is called scale. Okay, let's say you have a KPI of 200 per acquisition. Don't try to, and it's at 200, don't try to improve it. Okay, just increase the ad spend. We're not looking to build the best system on earth. We're just looking to build a system that's profitable and that is recurrent. Okay? Example: if I say to you, yeah, my primary metric is $200 per acquisition and it costs me $200 to get one lead, you would say to me that that is a broken system, right? Because there's no way you have a profitable system with a $200 per lead. But now, if I say to you that for every stage of conversion, I have 100% conversion rate from each one of these steps. Now my system is running perfectly, right? Because my keystone metric is in KPI. So if your keystone metric is in KPI, do not try to improve anything, just increase the volume of inputs. In this case, it's the ad spend. Simple. Maybe you're asking yourself, how do I find and build the conversion tools that will allow me to achieve my KPIs and convert people? So conversion tools generally have key variables. Okay, so a key variable is an element of a, of a conversion tool that has a big impact of the effectiveness of the conversion tool in question. For example, advertising, we have the ad creative, the call to action, the landing page. Cold call, you have the opener, pitch, delivery. Nurturing, you have uh, confirmation email, follow-up messages, sales, question, answers, objections. Okay, the success of your client acquisition system depends on finding the right combination of for your variables. If you want to build a client acquisition system, you need to use the scientific procedure. How it works? Simple. So you create a hypothesis, you test the hypothesis, you receive feedback, and based on the feedback, you create a new hypothesis. So feedback, as we said, in this case, is going to be the metrics. This method invented the cars you're selling, the dealership you're working in, the device you use, and all the human achievements are based on this procedure. Okay, example, you're going to create one ad image or one video, you're going to create one ad copy, one call to action, one landing page, and one nurturing process. With all that, you have your first hypothesis. Okay, now you're going to test the hypothesis. So you're going to spend your first 400 $500 on advertising and let the ads run for 1 week. Because to know if we have a bottleneck in our system, we need to have enough data to assume that we have a bottleneck, right? The more data we have, the more validity your data has. If you let your ad run for 1 day and say it doesn't work, it's stupid. Your data is not valid, right? Because it's not large enough for us to assume that you have a bottleneck. So you need to track metrics for 1 week, 2 weeks before making any changes. Okay. So step three, you're gonna receive feedback. So after set your KPIs for every conversion rate, a week later, if you track the data, you should know the conversion rates. So now, once you know the metrics, the feedback, once you have the feedback, look at your primary metric. Is it in KPI? If yes, leave the system like this and just increase the ad spend, okay? If not, look at the metric below it. In this case, it's gonna be the conversion rate on the cell itself, right? Look at it. Is it in KPI? If yes, then you need to make changes to the conversion tools impacting the end metric. If not, again, go to the next metric below it, okay? And repeat the step two until you find the bottleneck. For example, after tracking everything, you find that your CPA is not in KPI. You're not gonna change the system at this point. You're gonna go to the next metric below it, and the sales, the conversion rate is not in KPI. So you go to the next metric below it, which is the show up rate, right? You see that the show up rate, a KPI is 60%, but it's currently at 30%, right? And out of this 30%, you got one sale. That means that if we double the show up rate to make it in KPI, it means that all the metrics above the show up rate will also double, including your CPA. So now your CPA goes from 400 to 200. Now your CPA is also in KPI, right? Simple. Once you find the bottleneck, all you have to do is create a new hypothesis, changing the thing that is impacting the metric you're trying to improve. For example, we had one audience, one ad image, one ad copy, one call to action, one landing page, one a follow-up nurturing process. We're not gonna change the audience, the ad image, the ad copy, the call to action, or the landing page, because that doesn't really impact the show up rate. What does impact the show up rate is the follow-up. So that's what we're gonna change. And now we have a new hypothesis. Once you have a new hypothesis, all you have to do is just repeat the steps 1 to 4 until your keystone metric is in KPI. That's all you have to do. Okay? That's what it takes to build a profitable client acquisition system. For you, it will maybe take months, maybe years, but it works, okay? And honestly, you'll probably need to rewatch this part two, three, 4 times, okay? But I can assure you, if you follow everything I've just said, you will have a profitable running system, okay?